it actually took a very tough beating to get me out of the sport. But Manny Pacquiao, I mean, he beat the hell out of me. Manny Pacquiao would be right in front of me. He would, after hitting me 15 times, and then I would be ready to hit him, and he would be wide open, and I couldn't pull the trigger. I just couldn't pull the trigger.
He's coming back. Yeah, 46. Thank you. The WBC title at 147. Thank you.
I wish him all the best.
Quadra, I love him. Can he do it? Quadra?
Can he do it? Absolutely.
That's a Mexican brand. Quadra.
He's a legend, you know.
He's
a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. Yeah.
He's 46.
46. He hasn't fought in nearly 4 years. His last bout ended in a loss, and now is stepping back into the ring not for an exhibition, but for a world title fight. On paper, Manny Pacquiao's return makes no sense. But if you followed boxing long enough, you know Pacquiao was never just a name on paper. He's a storm in the late rounds, a blur of gloves you never see coming. The man who built his legacy not by playing it safe, but by defying every expectation the sport had for him. Now he's facing Mario Barrios, 13 years younger, the reigning WBC welterweight champion, and entering the peak of a career. Most fighters would avoid this matchup. Most retired legends wouldn't even think about it. But Pacquiao didn't just agree to it, he wants a belt. So when Oscar De La Hoya said Barrios should think twice, it wasn't trash talk, it was a warning, because this isn't just a comeback, it's a challenge. And if history's taught us anything, it's this: you don't bet against Pacquiao when he's chasing something. When he announced his return, the reaction wasn't applause, it was disbelief. He hadn't fought since 2021. He was 46 deep into politics, and most assumed his career was finished. Then came the news: July 19th, Las Vegas, WBC welterweight title, no warm-up, no exhibition. Just a straight leap into the fire against a prime champion. For almost 4 years, boxing moved on without him. New contenders rose, belts changed hands, and the sport appeared. No press, no pad work, just family, public service, and silence. But behind that silence, he was still watching, and maybe the world mistook that stillness or retirement. Maybe they thought the storm was over. The thing about Pacquiao is he's never needed the spotlight to sharpen the blade. He never trained for cameras. He trained because movement lives in his blood. Even now, the hands are fast, the eyes still track, and the rhythm still bends expectations. Every now and then a clip would surface, 15 seconds, no quotes, no music, just Pacquiao alone, locked in like he never left. And suddenly fans started asking the question no one wanted to touch. What if it's not done? Then came the first whispers that turned into rumors, and finally confirmation. He wasn't done watching, he was getting ready to fight again. But this fight isn't about nostalgia, it's a final statement. Pacquiao already has more accolades than any active fighter, 8 divisions fighter of the decade, and still is a fighter, 8 division title fighter of the decade, and a Hall of Fame career secured long before he hung up the gloves, and still is putting everything back on the line. Why? Because legacy doesn't sleep, and one win over a reigning champion could change the way we think about age and greatness in this sport. The risk is real no matter how legendary he is. Time doesn't spare anyone. He'll enter that ring slower, maybe less durable, certainly with less momentum. But if history has shown us anything, it's this: Pacquiao doesn't just survive when he's counted out, that's when he thrives. Is not returning to prove anything to fans, is returning because in his mind this isn't the end, it's the unfinished chapter. Is ready to write one more time under the bright lights of Las Vegas. Manny Pacquiao isn't just a legend, his boxing mythology brought to life. 62 wins, 8 weight divisions, 26 knockouts. He wasn't supposed to dominate featherweights, let alone welterweight, but time and again Pacquiao broke logic, carving up names like Barrera, Morales, Cardio, and Thurman with footwork so fast it looked like CGI. Still, this isn't 2010, this is 2025, and reality doesn't care about legends. When Pacquiao last fought in 2021, he didn't look washed, but he didn't look like Pacquiao either. Your Dennis Hughes wasn't better, he was younger, fresher, sharper, and that was enough. Pacquiao took the loss with grace, but it was clear his timing had dulled, his reflexes slowed. Now 4 years later, can that same fighter come back stronger? Even the greatest slowdown, Ali, Leonard, Roy Jones. Greatness doesn't beat the clock, it only delays it. Pacquiao's speed once made him untouchable, a blur too fast to track. But now the question isn't about what he was, it's whether that speed still matters when his legs don't move like they used to. And it's not just physical, it's the rhythm, the instincts, the timing that only repetition can sharpen. Ring rust isn't about cardio, it's about milliseconds of space between landing clean or getting caught. 4 years out of the ring doesn't just dull reflexes, it rewires how you move and react against someone like Barrios, who's younger, sharper, and in rhythm. That's not a warm-up, it's a risk zone. But this is where the story could flip. Pacquiao has never relied on youth or brute strength. He wins with movement, angled pressure, and chaos disguised as rhythm. He doesn't slug it out, he drowns you in volume bursts and feints you never saw coming. If that instinct, that sixth sense for timing and space is still intact, then even at 46 he might be too much For a fighter like Barrios, who's never shared a ring with someone this unpredictable, Pacquiao doesn't need to be who he was, he just needs to be sharp enough, smart enough, and relentless enough to make Barrios question himself for even one round. And in fights like these, one round is all it takes. Mario Last Tech Barrios isn't stepping into this fight as a placeholder. He's a reigning WBC welterweight champion with 29 wins, just 2 losses, and the kind of discipline that makes him one of the most focused athletes in the division. At 30, is entering his prime, tall and rangy with a stiff jab and a gas tank built for deep waters. Is not flashy, but is efficient, breaking opponents down round by round, not by chasing knockouts, but by suffocating them with steady pressure, smart footwork, and calculated aggression. Since moving up to welterweight, he's looked sharper, more composed, and far more patient. The wild, sometimes reckless puncher from his super lightweight days has evolved into a methodical tactician, and right now he's fighting like a man who understands exactly where he is and exactly where he wants to go. But this challenge is unlike anything Barrios has faced before. He's not fighting a textbook welterweight, he's fighting controlled chaos. Pacquiao doesn't move like anyone else in the division. 1 second is in front of you, the next is circling your blind side, unloading a 5-punch flurry from an angle you didn't think existed. That's what makes this fight dangerous. Barrios has never dealt with this kind of pressure, this kind of timing, this kind of unpredictability, especially from a fighter with nothing left to prove and everything left to take. But Barrios isn't walking in blind. He knows the weight of this moment is called a fight and honor, but is not showing up to pay tribute. He's showing up to win, because beating Pacquiao doesn't just mean keeping your belt, it means rewriting your name into boxing's bigger conversation. It's how you stop being just a champion and start being a star. Mario Barrios has the youth, the power, and the momentum, but all of that only matters if he can survive what's coming, because now he has to walk through fire and prove he deserves to share the same sentence as Manny Pacquiao. And few people understand what that fire feels like better than Oscar De La Hoya in 2008. He stepped into the ring bigger, favored, and decorated, a 6th division world champion expected to dominate. Instead, he sat on the stool, broken and silent. Unable to continue. Pacquiao didn't just beat him, he dismantled him systematically and without mercy. So if De La Hoya is telling Barrios to think twice, it isn't trash talk, it's experience talking. It's the voice of someone who knows what it's like to underestimate a man fighting with no pressure, no fear, and absolutely nothing to lose. De La Hoya isn't the only one concerned. Veterans, analysts, and trainers are all saying the same thing. This fight looks winnable for Barrios, but it feels like a trap. Pacquiao doesn't train like a man nearing 50. He trains like a contender. He doesn't enter the ring looking to survive. He enters thinking like a predator, and if his legs hold up for even 6 or 7 rounds, Barrios could find himself in the middle of the storm he's never experienced. Then there's a psychological side. Barrios may be the defending champion, but all eyes are on Pacquiao. This isn't just a title defense, it's a legacy test, and legacy fights carry pressure. No sparring session can prepare you for. The crowd will lean Pacquiao, the media will lean Pacquiao, the energy in the arena will lean Pacquiao, and it's in those moments when everything feels just a little heavier that hesitation begins. Even Barrios' own camp isn't underestimating Pacquiao. They made it clear he's preparing for war, not a farewell tour, because deep down they know if Pacquiao shows up at even 70% of what he wants, this won't be a routine defense, it'll be survival. And when legends step in with nothing to lose and everything to prove, the script tends to flip in ways no one sees coming. That isn't hype, that's a voice of experience echoing from corners that have felt what it's like to face a fighter the world thought was finished. Inside Pacquiao's camp, the energy isn't nostalgic, it's calculated. No one's pretending this is the same fighter who dismantled Margarito or outclassed Thurman. But they're not relying on the past, they're engineering a version of Pacquiao built for precision, over pace, control over chaos. His longtime trainer, Boo Boy Fernandez, has been direct. We're not here for a payday, we're here to win. They've broken down Barrios' rhythm, studied the jab, mapped his patterns. of strategy is simple: disrupt his tempo, force resets, and attack the long torso with those sharp combinations. Pacquiao still throws cleaner than most. This isn't about dominating for 12 rounds, it's about controlled bursts, well-timed traps, and footwork that doesn't overwhelm but unbalances. Pacquiao isn't sparring for nostalgia, he's training with younger, taller partners who replicate Barrios' size and style, not to relive his past but to prepare for the present. The focus now isn't on pure speed, it's timing, conditioning, and shot selection. He knows he won't win every round, and he doesn't need to. He just needs to place the right punches at the right moments in front of the right judges. Fernandez addressed the doubters directly, saying they think Manny is done, they are wrong, we're not doing this for fun, we're doing this for history. That alone tells you exactly what kind of fight they're expecting and what kind of statement they're trying to make. They're not chasing perfection, they're chasing one clean win. And in a sport where a single round can shift the entire scorecard, Pacquiao's team believes he still has 3 or 4 great ones left. When news broke that Pacquiao was stepping back into the ring, the internet lit up. Twitter, YouTube forums, everyone had something to say. Some fans were ecstatic, others stunned, and plenty We're genuinely worried Pacquiao's global fan base, especially in the Philippines, immediately rallied around him, calling it one last push for greatness. But it didn't take long for critics to jump in, calling the move reckless, too old, too risky. Barrios isn't a part-time opponent. The reaction split fast, and that divide between belief and doubt is what makes this fight so magnetic. It's rare for a comeback to get this much buzz without a press conference. Meltdown or manufactured beef, no trash talk, no. Chairs flying, just a clean, dangerous fight between a legend chasing one last crown and a champion trying to claim his era. And the boxing world feels that hardcore fans are breaking down every training clip. Casuals who haven't watched in years are circling July 19th, because whether you think Pacquiao wins or gets dropped in the fourth, you're watching. That's the power of Pacquiao. He brings hope, nostalgia, and danger all at once, and Barrios knows the crowd won't be neutral. He's not just fighting a man. He's fighting a moment. If Pacquiao pulls it off, if he beats Mario Barrios, this isn't just a comeback, it's a shockwave. He wouldn't just be back, he'd become the oldest fighter to ever claim the WBC welterweight title, a 46-year-old champion in a division built to destroy young contenders. Comebacks aren't rare in boxing, but they're usually exhibitions, not real title fights. Pacquiao isn't chasing nostalgia, he's chasing a belt, and if he wins, the whole welterweight picture changes. So what happens if Pacquiao wins? The rankings get messy. Barrios, a newly crowned champ, would lose his belt to a semi-retired icon, and contenders like Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz Jr., even Crawford and Spence fans would start demanding their shot. Pacquiao might have to defend. This wouldn't be a one-night comeback, it would launch a full campaign, and then there's a narrative win could spark talk of unfinished business, a Ugas rematch, maybe even whispers of Mayweather 2. The marketing would go wild, because the only way to follow a comeback like this is with another historic fight. Let's be clear, this isn't just about belts or ticket sales. If Pacquiao wins, it sends a message to every fighter over 35 who's been told they're done. It proves that experience, skill, and heart can still change the story. And more than anything, its legacy is already a Hall of Famer, already a global icon. But a win here doesn't just add to his record, it reshapes what we think is possible. We